when we started this association back in 2005, we had two goals. One was to encourage and support the village in their efforts to redevelop the downtown. And second, to create pedestrian and family-friendly events in the downtown area to bring people to the downtown. Now, fast forward to today, that was 18 years ago, we see much going on around us. And personally, I'm thrilled with the way downtown Mount Prospect is looking. I mean, it's almost like the fulfillment of our dreams back then. It's probably a good time to acknowledge some of the people and organizations responsible for where we are today. I'd like to thank previous mayors, Gerald Farley, Irvana Wilkes, Arlene Jurasek, up to our current mayor, Paul Hofer. They have all stood at the helm of this ship through this entire journey. The trustees who have given so much and endured so much during this process, because, you know, this is not all rainbows and smiles, this process, as many of you know. Village staff, special thanks to village staff, specifically village manager Mike Cassidy. Thank you. Community Development Director Bill Cooney, and Assistant Village Manager Nellie Beckner. Now we also have to thank the willing and invested developers, going all the way back to Bruce Adriani of Norwood Builders, who rescued the Clock Tower Condos project midstream, and who went on to build a couple more buildings in the downtown area, up to today's Nick Papanicholas Jr. and his family of Nicholas and Associates and Wingspan Development, as well as Tom Lowe of T2 Investments, both of which have deep Mount Prospect roots, which is just another awesome aspect of the whole thing. All these people I just mentioned represent the right people being on the bus. I'm grateful that their collective efforts has brought us to where we are today. I believe their perseverance and commitment to a job well done is the reason why we're looking at the blossoming downtown landscape we see today. I'm proud that the Mount Prospect Downtown Merchants Association had at least a bit part in this process. Now this brings me to the concept of community involvement on the part of small and medium businesses, especially small businesses. And I'm talking about those businesses that get the majority of their clientele, or at least a good portion of their clientele, from the local area. For me and other small business managers and owners, community involvement is as vital a function of our businesses as accounting is, or customer service. It's just the way we do things. It takes some time, but the rewards come back tenfold. Just being seen around the community at events, festivals, and just, you know, taking advantage of the businesses in the area, people get to know you, they're more comfortable reaching out to you. It really is something that, you know, everyone should give a try. There's a saying in business, and that is, if you're not visible, you're invisible. And every time I say that, I feel the truth in those words. I mean, that should be on the wall of every business. If you're not visible, you're invisible. I encourage those of you who are not as involved as you could be, to step up and enjoy the benefits of community involvement. All right, so now we're going to have the brief business portion of the meeting. Here is the mission. What you see is the original and unchanged mission statement of the Mount Prospect Downtown Merchants Association. We're very proud of this mission and feel it is as true today as it was the day we crafted and adopted it. The whole purpose of the meeting here is we have to have an annual meeting, but we also want to celebrate our past successes. We want to discuss our 2023 goals. We want to discuss any challenges we may have. We'll do a little bit of MPDMA business, and then we're going to have a very interesting Mount Prospect development update. All right, 2022's events. We had a successful year The Derby de Mayo happened on May 7th. That is, for those of you who don't know, is a combination of Cinco de Mayo and the Kentucky Derby. Kids movie nights on the greens. We had 3 movie nights this year on the Centennial Green, and their popularity is increasing. We're getting bigger and bigger crowds. It's really a cool thing, and so we're expanding that a little bit this year. We'll talk about that in a second. We had a great fall festival and Oktoberfest. Some of you may remember last year's was really phenomenal weather. It was blue sky and 70 degrees in October, and we had fabulous turnouts. This year was a little cooler. It was actually, I think it got down to 40 that night, but we had blue skies. And when you have blue skies in the daytime, people just come out. I think, you know, with COVID being what it was, people were ready to come out. We had record beer sales at the Oktoberfest. Cool but clear weather. The downtown trick or treat, which happened on October 26th, that is an event that is growing in by leaps and bounds. That too is going to happen every year. I think this is the fourth one that we've had. Okay, if you're a local business, you should take part in that because it really is awesome. You just have to show up with candy and lines of kids. It's really a fun event. And our Santa photo shoot, which we had on 2 different days, I think 2 Saturdays in November. We had 2 sold out dates. So that's another event that we need to expand a little bit and figure out how to do it the right way. All right, 2023. We do have a hot cocoa stroll that is scheduled for mid to late February. The Derby de Mayo, of course, is always the first Saturday in May, which is the Kentucky Derby Day. And we have a new part of the kids' movie nights. When I wrote this, I put in adult movies on the green, and I thought, oh, maybe that's not the right choice of word. So I changed it to grown-up. Who knows what the turnout would be, but. And this year, at Memorial Day weekend, we're going to do a Top Gun double feature, although on 2 nights. The original Top Gun from 1986, and then Top Gun Maverick, which I don't know if those of you saw, a very exciting movie. I actually heard that China had made a similar movie to, of course, bolster their military and show off their military. But when they saw Top Gun Maverick, they just never put it out. So really cool movies. And then we have 3 movies set for the kids. We are actually in the process of getting new movie night equipment. The one we had was from Capaneri's Movie Nights, and it's a blow-up screen, and we had to have an extension cord across the lawn and kids running around. It was a little bit difficult. So the new setup is going to be a non-inflatable screen that's going to be rear projection, and it's brighter. So we'll be able to start a little earlier. Just because of the sun setting in the summertime, it's a little late start for the young kids. We'd be wrapping up at 10 o'clock sometimes. Not to mention, some of us would have to roll around on this inflatable thing to pack it back in the bag. So we're all looking forward to that. All right, and then we revived the New Year's Eve event, which was on December 30th. We used to do that. We started it back at the Blues Bar, and we did it again this year at Station 34. It was very well attended. We had 2 sold-out seatings, I think 120-ish people in each seating. We have a balloon drop from the 2nd level. It's really fun. Magicians, DJ, it's a whole lot of fun. And the food was just phenomenal. It really was. Okay, so on to the official business. Here are the 2023 board changes. Now, Tom Nelson is going from vice president to president for the next 2 years. Tricia Chokshi is moving into the vice president spot. Myself am moving to the past president position, and Chris Bozanellos is going from the past president position to director position. We also have 2 new directors who are joining us, and they're both, Jeannie is here, Jeannie McAtene, right?
Makatanai.
That's going to take a few times. All right, and Jeannie is from the Glow Shop on Prospect Avenue, and I know Mary always talks about the Glow Shop, and it's really a charming little shop. And Floyd Wessel, who is from Games Plus, also on Prospect Avenue. So we welcome those new members. These are the members who are continuing. They're in midterm. Bill Barnes is our treasurer from Barnes, Gibbons, and Barnes. Roberta Hammond, secretary from Bite Me Web Hosting and Design. Tammy Anderson from Anderson Tax and Accounting. Chad Bussey, Bussey Automotive and Detail Center. Eric Held from the Held Insurance Agency. Christy Wadahovich from the law offices of Mark J. Wadahovich. And we have our ex officio director, Nellie Beckner, assistant village manager of the Village of Mount Prospect. And of course, Mary Jo Anderson, our administrative assistant, who really helps us function. Thank you, Mary Jo. All right, we have 3 exiting board members. Dimitri from Honey Biscuit, from the Honey Biscuit restaurant. Kelly McDermott from Contanopoli Restaurant, and Scott Segobiano from Edward Jones. Thank you all for your service. We appreciate the time that you've given us. All right, so now I'd like to bring up the new president, Tom Nelson. Tom Nelson has been president before. Tom Nelson is one of the charter members of the Downtown Merchants Association, as is Roberta Hammond, myself. I don't know, are there any other charter members in the room? All right, Tom, one thing before we do, are there any non-member businesses that are here for the very first time? One. And non-members, sorry. Okay. All right, so we're just going to, oh yes, Brandon. Okay, so we have 2. So one of you is going to walk out of here with a MPDMA membership for 2023, okay? And Mary Jo is going to just take your names on a Post-it, and we're going to put it in a box, and we're going to pick a winner, all right, at the end. All right, Tom?
Yes, Tom?
This is the golden broom that we have passed along. It's actually got signatures of the various presidents over the years.
I think it needs a new paint job.
It does need a new paint job, but then we'd have to paint over all the signatures. So we'll just
leave the handle.
Yeah. All right. So anyway, this is the official passing of the broom. Thank you, Tom. And thank you very much. I had a wonderful 2 years as president. Enjoy being part of this group, and really community involvement, I think, is really an awesome thing. All right. Tom, it's all yours.
If you'd like to become more active in the downtown Mount Prospect, there are many avenues to do that. We meet quarterly, March, June, September, and December. Everyone, even non-members, are welcome to attend these meetings. Our committees are the backbone of our organization. The people putting in their time behind the scenes make our events and our organization something that we can all be proud of. We can always use more help. If you would like to join our association or one of our committees, speak to me or any of the directors that were mentioned today. In addition, if you would like us to share your announcements with our membership, that's something that we do for our members. We can share information in person at our quarterly meetings, in an email blast, or through our Facebook page. So now, Mr. Bill Cooney will give us an update.
Thanks, Tom's. Appreciate the introduction and the audience. It's good to see a full crowd here. As Tom said, back in '05, there's a group of local business people that really were stepping back and really frustrated with the pace of development in downtown. And the names that he mentioned, the former mayors and the staff that have been working on this, have been putting a lot of effort into it. But I wouldn't discount the importance of this group to those people, because it was very difficult for the political world to get behind a lot of the development stuff. There's a lot of anti-development thought process, a lot of feelings that way, and it took a lot of guts and a lot of tough votes, a lot of tough meetings to get a lot of the projects that I'm going to go through today to get those off the ground. And now that we've got the momentum going, I think that resistance has pretty much gone away. I think people have embraced the redevelopment. And I think we're seeing a lot of the positive spin-offs of the new population that we brought in downtown, some of the new businesses that have come downtown, and some other new businesses that we hope will be here in 2023. So what I'm going to do today is go through kind of an update of the projects that you've seen built throughout the community. I'm going to talk about some of the projects that we'll be working on in 2023. I've got a special guest in the audience, Chris Coleman from Wingspan Development, who I'm going to ask to give a little color to a couple of my slides, as they're involved with several of these developments, and he can give a little bit better update on those. So I will start that, and if you have any questions, feel free to raise your hand at any time. This was really the first project that kicked off the core downtown redevelopment, 20 West, which is obviously in the Small Triangle area. The Small Triangle area, as many know, that was a very difficult area to get redeveloped. A lot of small, individually owned properties, older businesses, and it took a lot of effort from the village, a lot of effort from Nicholas and Associates to put together this project. It was the first high-level or high-end apartment project that was built in Mount Prospect in over 40 years. And no one really knew what to expect when that started. We had some initial market studies done by outside consultants to review what Mount Prospect could expect as far as rents and such going forward and demand. Their review of it was much less optimistic than what ended up actually happening. The estimates were rents in the range of the high ones to $2 a square foot. When this project opened in, was it 18, Chris, 2018? Yeah, end of 18 into 19. The rents on this one and then all the projects going forward have been over $2.50 a square foot, which is significant because that adds to, you're talking first of all about individuals coming into town that have some dollars that they can spend. Yep.
I'm sorry, to us laymen, what does that translate to?
Oh, I'm sorry, yeah. So in the business, if you will, they look at a monthly rent of $250 a foot. Would, if you had a 1,000 square foot apartment, would be $2,500 a month. So instead of, they were projecting at $2,000 a month, it ended up being $2,500. Now those numbers vary by square footage and all that, but they range, I would say, Chris, would you say $240 to $270 a foot? Is that a range?
Some of the studios or the junior one bedrooms, it's higher.
It's higher than $270 a foot. To give you an idea, Chicago, is at its prime, I don't know if it still is, was pushing $4 a square foot. High threes, low fours. So again, the difference, so if you're a developer and you get the difference between $2 and $250 a foot is significant. And it adds to the values of these properties going forward. It increases the individuals living in these apartments generally have to have a higher wealth level to do that. So this was the first project, $28 million investment. And I'm going to go through each one and talk about the dollars, but to give you an idea, in the last 5 years, private developers, Nicholas, T2, and others, have invested $250 million in our downtown district, which is a large number, something we've never seen before. And you're seeing the spin-off of that. There's 73 luxury apartments and 5,000 square feet of retail. The apartments hit the market, and they were leased, the entire project was leased up in 9 months, which was a very positive feedback for the first project we had in the downtown district. The restaurant component of it, we have had, what, 3 restaurants now, Chris, I think, that we thought we've had going in there. We think this is the premier restaurant space in town. It's a 2-story deal. We want to get a high-end restaurant there. Again, this was the first project, very successful, and we will be very happy when that restaurant opens up. I think it'll be a great addition to the downtown district. The second project was the old Central Plaza property, and I'm sure you all missed that. It was one of the more interesting projects I've ever worked on in my life. Basically it was I think around 15,000 square foot strip center that had really fallen in disrepair. The ownership of it disappeared. There was really no one claiming ownership. The village stepped in and ultimately took over ownership of that property, cleaned up the property, put it out for bid, and a combination of was at that time Great Street Realty, Tom Lowe's company. He then morphed into T2. It was also brought in some outside major local developers, Harlem Irving Companies and Hamilton Partners, to invest in this project. Again, a $30 million project, 98 luxury apartments, no retail of any kind on that corner. Again, very successful. The apartments fully leased in 8 months. Rents far exceeded what was expected. And actually, this is the first building that has been constructed in the downtown that actually sold on the open market, and it was sold to an institutional investor for over $32 million, which is a very positive thing for the village because it shows the outside world who hasn't been involved with working on the local level and dealing with the construction, but just from an investment, purely investment standpoint, saw this as a very good investment opportunity long-term for a real estate investment trust. That's a very positive thing for Mount Prospect going forward. It shows that things are going well. Then probably the biggest, it is the biggest project, and I think going to be the most transformational project, the Maple Street Loft project. And this is the one Chris talks about, you know, this group and the political world stepping up against what was a pretty robust a group of people that didn't want to see this happen, especially on the south side of the train tracks. The project is multiple types of uses. There's 2 apartment buildings, one of which has been built, the one that's in this picture here. This is 192 units. It also has 15,000 square feet of retail, which I think is going to transform, again, the south side of the tracks. Again, these rents far exceeded expectations. They leased quickly. The other part of it was the south half of that property was 56 row homes. That Ryan Homes constructed, and they constructed that in about a year and a half. They all sold out. The average price is well over $400,000. That whole project is completely owned by individuals that will be shopping in all your stores going forward. And I think it's been a great addition to the downtown. The second apartment building, which is a 65-unit apartment building, is under construction now. The foundation is in, and realistically, occupancy is probably early 2024. But I think the most important part of the project is the Caputo's grocery store that's slated to open soon. Well, I can tell you I've been here for a while, and the entire time I've been here, the number one thing I've been asked or told to do is get a grocer in the downtown. I didn't expect it to be at this location. I never would have picked that as far as the spot. But as the south side of the downtown district is morphing, and we'll get into that a little bit more, I think this is going to be a home run, and it's going to be a great addition to the downtown. It's a great addition. You know, I think we have over 600 units have currently been added to the downtown, and probably another close to 200 units coming online in the next year and a half, and opportunities for a few more. This grocer will be a very well-received amenity in the downtown district. So we're very excited about that, and appreciative of Nicholas and Wingspan bringing it to downtown. So, all right. So the next one is Prospect Place, formerly known as the Kiefer's Block. This project is well underway. It is close to being under roof. We were hoping it would be before the weather turned, and it's close, and hopefully they still will get there. 27 degrees, by the way, is the number you care about. That's when you can stop putting brick in with the mortar. So hope for a little more warm weather, a couple more weeks of that, and we may be fully under roof here. But this is a very exciting project because it was, again, another property that had been, you know, good old downtown Mount Prospect. This was an ownership of some families on North Shore that owned it, really didn't care about what went into it as long as they were collecting rent checks, didn't maintain the property. It was really dilapidated. T2 Investments came along. Tom Lowe, who is a local resident, did a full analysis. Our first goal was to work with him to renovate that center, keep it in place, keep the old traditional old downtown look. And we went through it. He went through it, had all his professionals look at the building, and it was not pretty. Let's put it that way. And investing in that existing structure really made no sense at that point in time. So he came forward with a investment group, again, a $30 million project, 80 luxury apartments, 10,000 square feet of retail. As I said, under construction, occupancy by the end of this year. The exciting part is Mike and I have been working with a local brewer to bring a brew pub into the first level of this facility on the west half of the building. If we are successful and the board agrees to the the development terms of bringing that individual in. It'd be a 6,000 square foot restaurant, actually 2 restaurants, with a brew pub operation actually on site. And I think it'd be a great addition to the downtown district. And the beginning of what I think will be not necessarily a transformation, but certainly an enhancement of that whole Prospect Avenue stretch from 83 to the end where it starts hitting the office. I think it's Pine Street there. So we hope to have that. Again, the residential will be open by the end of the year. The potential is for that brew pub and possibly the other half of that retail space to be occupiable by August of this year. So great addition, hopefully, to the downtown. Keep your fingers crossed, and we will be working hard to make that happen. This is the old fire police station, 112 East Northwest Highway, currently under demolition. Another $30 million project, 82 apartments, 6 row homes, which will be a little bit different. The frontage on the west frontage of this building along Northwest Highway will actually have walk-up row homes in an apartment building above. And then in the corner there at Maple, we'll have a small 3,200 square foot retail opportunity at that corner. Again, under demolition right now. Construction should begin probably, you're looking at April-ish, and then occupancy by first quarter of 2024 as well. So again, you're seeing several, like I said, about a couple hundred additional units that will be coming online very soon. Looking forward this year, we've got several projects that have been approved, and there's several projects that we're looking at as far as areas of improvement. 500 Central, which is, I call it the gold building. As you go down Central, across the tracks, it's on the north side there. It's been an office building for 40 years, plus or minus. It's been, as you know, the office market right now is not so great. An individual purchased that property, came forward and just recently was approved by the board for a conversion of that building to a 20-unit apartment building. And that'll be ongoing throughout 23, probably occupied by early 24. On the bottom right there is the Lions Park row homes, which is right next to the row homes that Ryan Homes recently constructed. Again, similar design, quality. The only difference on this one is these are actually rental row homes. So the developer will maintain ownership of all 29 units, and they'll rent those out, which is a new product, something that doesn't exist in downtown at the moment. Another exciting project, the old Bussy Flowers building at the corner of Emerson and Northwest Highway. Nicholas and Associates has purchased that. So what's there today will continue, the Golden Oak and the piano shop and others, and then we'll see the redevelopment hopefully this year. An exciting change, a different scale obviously of what we've been dealing with in the downtown, but I think it'd be a great addition and improve what has been a little bit of an eyesore over the last few years. Prospect Avenue, this is the area that kind of excites us. I think there's an opportunity here. We have the Hunter block of Prospect Avenue especially. We have some new ownership. Again, a lot of the issues, and it's not just the downtown, it's village-wide, it's everywhere actually. A lot of times when you look at retail and you're like, why isn't this doing this, or why isn't someone investing in whatever? A lot of it's passive investors that just don't have a vested interest in Mount Prospect. And that block pretty much was owned by those types of individuals. Well, in the last year, the majority of that block, I would say from Bill's Ice Store all the way down to Mia's, has all been purchased by two different groups, two different investment groups. So the Stay Fit area and the 2 stores, there's 4 storefronts basically there. That was bought by 2 local investors that are very invested in downtown Mount Prospect. We're working with them right now to do some facade improvements on the outside, to gut basically all those spaces out, bring them up to current standards. They're looking at a couple different restaurant concepts where we've talked to wine bars, we've talked to spirit tasting rooms, a lot of different, we're trying to get interactive uses on that space to really enliven Prospect Avenue. In addition, the owners of Mia's purchased their building, which includes the space to the east of them, and they hope to expand into that and kind of diversify, maybe even do more of a takeout concept in that that portion of the space. They also are looking at retroing. There's I think it's like 6 office spaces that are above them, and maybe converting those to apartments. So again, local owners, local investors that are very vested in the street. We'd like to liven up the outdoor spaces, get some more outdoor seating. You know, the Mia's corner that we extended and created a great outdoor dining. We're going to do the same down the street where hopefully that brew pub's going to go, and create another district there. And then we're looking at like parklets and other things out front, the individual stores that may be effective and increase their seating, just to make the downtown during the summer more lively. And we've seen, I hate to look at Arlington Heights and say what they've done, that's just phenomenal, their little al fresco thing. We don't have a space like that works. Our downtown's not big enough, quite frankly, to do it, but we're going to try to mimic that to the extent that we can and really encourage outdoor dining opportunities. Another positive one the board just approved last week, I think it was 2 weeks ago, was the Cigar Shop Lounge. It's going to take over the old Mount Prospect Bike Shop that's been vacant now for about 4 years. The gentleman that's going to operate it's an interesting gentleman. If you like cigars, I think it's going to be something you're going to like a lot. And I think it would be a good add to the Northwest Highway frontage. Then the big white elephant in the room is 111 East Bussey. The old Chase Bank building. We've been trying to get that property on the development scene. And as you know, we had Graystar that had a great plan that would have been most of the block, 200 plus units. But we've unfortunately found out there's basically a pending litigation in federal court between the former owner of the property and the current owner of the property, and it's just tangling that property up. That and the antennas that are on top of that building have to be relocated, which we thought we had solved, and we think we probably have solved. Now we just have to get this property out of court and hopefully into the private market and get it developed. It's a great property right in the heart of our downtown, 2.5 acres. The opportunity probably in the range of 150 to 200 apartment units with some retail along Emerson to kind of finish off that corner. I'd like to tell you what's happening this year. I don't know that I'm that confident that it will, but we will be trying to. So rest assured, it's not the village that's holding that up. It is, unfortunately, again, the private sector ownership there. And I would say the other thing that I don't have on this list is, obviously, there's been a couple of recent vacancies with the Oberweis and with Breton and Edible Arrangements. We're working with the ownership of both of those buildings to re-tenant them. The Oberweis one is a great location. Actually, all of them are. They're right in the heart. I think they're great locations. I don't think it'll be a challenge. The ownership is interested on both those buildings to get those spaces filled up, and we will be working on that early this year to get that to happen. So Tom asked me just to kind of real at a high level, talk about what else is going on in town, and there's a lot. I talked about $250 million being invested in our downtown, which is awesome. But even more awesome is the old United Airlines parcel. I don't know if anyone's been down there recently. The entire site has been cleared, and that was over 1 million square feet of office, hotel space. The Cloud HQ is a developer. They do data center campuses throughout the country, actually throughout the world. They're investing $2.5 billion in Mount Prospect. That's just a phenomenal number. Yeah. I mean, that's huge. And that's huge for a lot of reasons. One, this is in a tax increment financing district, so the tax base that's going to be generated off of this and the tax revenues that are going to be generated off this will enable us to then reinvest those dollars in the entire South Mount Prospect area that's within that TIF. A lot of infrastructure. As you know, we annexed several properties over in the 2015 through 18 range, and a lot of those were not built up to village standards. They don't have village infrastructure that they should have. This development is going to help spur that investment throughout that south side of town. In addition, they will generate over $1 million annually in electric utility taxes to the village, which goes right to the general fund, keeps everybody's taxes lower because of that source, and it's a source that will keep growing as that data center project continues. It's a 6-year build out. There's 3 basically 600,000 square foot data center buildings proposed. They'll build one at a time, and they estimate that each building, assuming they fill it up with tenants, which they're confident they will, would be about a 2-year build cycle. So you're talking about a 6-year project, $2.5 billion. The impact from jobs, from ultimately taxes coming off of it is significant. I sent out a memo to the manager's office that was with a lot of statistics from the developer. I want to say when they demolished this site and they took crushed all that concrete and steel and such, they're going to recycle over 44,000 tons of material from that site, either repurposing it on the site or taking it off, selling it in secondary markets for use. So it's been a really interesting project. It's the most significant economic development impact of any project since I've been around here. So the south side's seeing a lot of activity again on the industrial world in Mount Prospect, and it was a project on a piece of property. It was very challenging. It was like, what could go here? And our comprehensive plan kind of looked at it and said, it's probably spec warehouse or possibly like NIU off campus kind of, if they could use the buildings and things, but there was very little interest in that. And when this came along, this was just a home run. So very exciting. 2040 Algonquin's a 53-unit affordable housing project that was approved late last year. Will be constructed this year, operational probably in the early parts of 24. It's similar, if you're familiar with the senior project that was built across the street from Home Depot, same kind of operation, if you will. Affordable to individuals that get in there. We're hoping to get Mount Prospect residents as residents of the new units. So, and that's located west, kind of where Popeyes is, across the street, if you will. So, and then the Dunkin' Donuts mixed use at Algonquin 83 was an old gas station. We are finally moving forward with that. They've had issues with the IEPA trying to get that site cleaned up to allow residential on the second floor. That should be under construction soon. Another spec building, the 2240 Bussy, basically right at the tollway and Bussy. It's an 80,000 square foot spec building, which already has 2 tenants taking the whole building up. The bottom right picture is this Snap Wash premium car wash right down where CVS is. And then Playball USA is relocating out of the Kensington Park down to the south side on Carboy. Again, on the north side, Randhurst. Again, probably, I know the mayor, high on his list of areas to see a focus. We're trying to work with DLC, who is the owner of the center, to bring that up to where we want it to be. Coming in soon, Mr. Kimchi, which is located on the south side of town right now. It's a Korean barbecue. They're going in the old barbecue right across Smoky Bones into that space. There's a golf factory simulator going right underneath the hotel, which I'm very interested in, so that should be good. Joe's Donuts have they opened? I know they got their occupancy. Actually, I think they're training right now. This is another example of a business that wants to open, but they can't get staff. And my understanding is they're talking about shutting. They opened a store in Elk Grove about a year ago, that they're actually going to shut that store down for like a month and bring all their staff up here to get it operational, and then train people and bring them in and bring people back. But that's how hard, a lot of these companies are really struggling to get people to work, which is interesting. Raising Cane's is looking at they're coming forward, in fact, at the end of this month for a zoning hearing to relocate at basically Mount Prospect and Central, the old Century Tile space. Which I'll miss that signage a lot, but that building will be demolished and a new drive-through restaurant facility built there, and really clean up that corner. I think it would be a good ad. As you all know, we're also redoing that whole intersection of Rand, Mount Prospect, and Central. So hopefully that whole flow there will be better. That's the goal. Everclean Car Wash up on a little bit further up towards Randhurst will be under construction soon. Stoughton Industrial is doing I think it's a 90,000 square foot industrial spec building right adjacent to the Kensington Business Center on Wolf Road. And then Avery Dennison is doing a 20,000 square foot addition in the Kensington Business Park. And the Kensington Business Park, it's 3 million square feet of industrial spec space. At the worst part of my time here, it was about 35–40% vacant. Right now it's like 2%. It's the industrial market is really on fire, and it's been very beneficial to the community. So that's my slideshow. I also just want to say one more. I meant to add one more slide, which is for any of you that are interested. There's funding out. The village has federal funds available for a variety of grant programs. So if you go to our website, which is mountprospect.org, and go to the business tab and click on business incentives. We have a website grant that will give a matching grant up to $5,000 for any business that wants to upgrade or produce a new website. We'll match that. We also have a green building program. which would match, again, up to $10,000 for any green improvements, solar panels, new windows, upgraded furnaces, that kind of stuff that you do to your property. So those funds are available. I encourage everyone to look at it. We've had some very positive, the website grant has been very popular, and we're starting to get some feelers on the green program too. So, and then there's obviously facade program and other things that we have. So I encourage you to look at our website. I think it's a very good website from an economic development standpoint, and it lists all the opportunities that are there to help your businesses succeed going forward. So, all right, thank you everyone, appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Bill. Wonderful presentation. Very informative. We look forward to seeing you at our next general meeting on Tuesday, March 4th at 8 a.m. in this very room.